Hey guys, for today's video, I'm going to be talking about all of my favorite makeup products of 2021. I was going to do favorites and fails in this video, but as I was pulling out my favorites, there are just way too many, and this is going to be a long video all in itself. So let's just jump on in. So first is a primer that I liked a lot more than I expected to, and I especially love this in combination with a powder. So I'll go ahead and mention the both since it really was a combination. And there were some days when I was going into the office and I wanted to wear some base makeup, but not too much because I was going to have to wear a mask. And I fell in love with this combination. So the first product in the combo is the Vesca Soft Sun Radiant Skin Primer in the shade Sunrise, which is the more yellow tone shade. And this gives a really pretty glow to the skin, but it doesn't feel greasy or too heavy. It still worked well with my oily skin. And then on top, I went in with the Kosas Cloud Set Powder. This was the shade Breezy. I just used this up in my project pan, and this was just a little mini. I really did not think I was going to like this because mostly people with dry skin have loved this, but this is so nice. This does give some good coverage. I used it with like a packing powder brush. It gave some good coverage. It really did help blur the skin, and you can put on tons of this powder and you won't look dry. I like my face to feel completely set, and it never felt completely set, but good enough for me to feel comfortable applying cheek products on top of it. And I never had any issues with this sample size hard panning, and it could be because I applied so much product with more of a dense brush, and for the fact that I do not wear foundations that are super wet. So if you do, then it might hard pan on you, but this is something I would definitely buy in the full size during the next Sephora sale. I was really impressed with this. And I have also used this just as a setting powder on top of an actual foundation, and I really like it as well. But I have some acne scarring, dark spots from acne, and a lot of redness on my face. And while this combo did not cover up everything, it covered it up enough for me to feel comfortable. And this is something I definitely see myself wearing on a day-to-day basis when we do go back into the office, which should be relatively soon. So that made me very happy, and it was exciting for me to enjoy something that was not full coverage, because that is normally what I go for. And then we've got two foundation products. The first is the Fenty Eaze Drop Blurring Skin Tint in the shade number 3, which is slightly dark for me, but I am able to make it work because it is like a medium coverage product. And this is something that I did not expect to like, because people either really loved this or really hated it, and the skin type has been like all over the place. So when my friend Jean sent this to me, I didn't have the highest of hopes, but I really like this. I am not going to be a skin tint person because I do like more full coverage. So the fact that this is like a light medium to medium is great. I feel like I cannot play with it too much or it might pick up on itself. So I really just try to like really press it into the skin. But I was very impressed with how it looked, how it wore. And this is also a product that I can see myself wearing day to day because of that coverage level. And then for something more full coverage, this is the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie foundation and concealer. I have the shade LN2, and they have a very large shade range, but only certain shades are sold on Ulta, which is a bummer. I understand not having all the shades in store if you have to cut something, but online I feel like you should be able to carry them. But regardless, I had previously tried this from Ulta in a different shade and it did not work for me. So when it went on sale at 21 Days of Beauty this year, or 2021, when I say this year, I mean 2021, I got it again, and this shade works so well. So you can pump it out, but I actually just applied it with the doe foot applicator, and this is really nice. It does give very full coverage, but it doesn't feel heavy or look too mask like. I think this is a really nice product, and I'm so happy that I decided to try it again and that it was a better shade match for me. Then we have Another powder that I really love that I am wearing today, and I'm wearing this over top of a foundation today, more of like a medium coverage product. And this is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Powder Foundation in Tin Porcelain. This is a TikTok hyped up product that I actually liked. I did try a few others that were not my favorite, but this one is really good. The only negative is that this has a really strong powdery floral scent, which I don't enjoy, and you can see I already have a good dip in here. It's a very, very powdery product, so I'm trying not to waste it and not run my brush in there too much. But I do like this as a powder foundation. I do think it gives a nice amount of coverage to the skin. It makes my skin look very blurred. It does not look too dry. I've seen a lot of people really enjoy this that have a variety of skin types, and I used to be really into pressed powder, then I was just into loose powder, and now I have like some of these powder foundations. So this is something that I actually plan on panning in 2022, just because I can see it being pretty easy to use up. But really like this. They have a good shade range. I wouldn't necessarily say that these are similar products at all, but this is like my favorite drugs for my favorite high-end right now. So I'm very, very happy with this as a powder foundation and as a setting powder, which is how I'm wearing it today. Next, I have cheek products, and there are a ton, which is so exciting to me. I have got 2 bronzers, 2 highlighters, 3 blushes, and then actually several cheek palettes, which I think is fun. So starting with bronzers, these are 2 products I used in the fall. The first one is from Vesca. This is the Kissed by Santorini bronzer, which is the second lightest shade. I'm very happy I went with this one instead of the lightest shade, because this is a really nice buildable formula, which makes this color really work for me. And if you look at the range, I think there's like 6 bronzers, but they go very, very deep, which is amazing, because we know that darker skin people have a hard time finding an actual bronzer that works for them. Most of the time they're probably buying darker face powders to use as a bronzer. So I'm glad that Vesca really, while there's not a huge amount of shades, 6 bronzers actually is pretty large compared to other brands, and they go very deep, which is really awesome to see. But it's a very nice formula, very buildable, and I really like this shade. And my second bronzer is something I did not expect to love. It is the Nabla Skin Glazing Bronzer in Ambra. They have 4 shades. This is the lightest. This also appears to go relatively deep. If you try this and you have a deep complexion, let me know how the shades work on you. But this is more of a satin finish bronzer, because it is this gelée formula, and I typically don't like gelée formulas. I feel like you can't use any old brush. It definitely works better to use more of a dense brush. And I'm going to go ahead and show one of my other favorites. This is the Eco Tools bronze brush. I will have the exact name and the product link down below. And this is a really beautiful duo fiber brush, but it has a lot of density to it. And for some reason, out of all the cheek brushes I have, this one works the best in here. I really like swirl it around, give it a good buff, and then just apply it to the skin, and it looks so airbrush, so beautiful, picks up just the perfect amount of product. So I really would say, if you have not liked this or feel like you can't get it to show up on you good enough, definitely try that bronzer. Of course, it is very affordable. You can get it at Ulta, but I really like this because, especially because I'm fair, my bronzer can get crazy very quickly, especially along my forehead, and this just looked so nice and natural, but it still showed up. Then for highlights, this is something that I had tried before and I didn't like, but I tried it again when I got the bronzer and I liked it so much more. So this is the Nabla Skin Glazing Highlight. Also comes in several shades. I have the lightest, which is called Ozone, which is a very fair champagne ivory color. And again, it has to do with the brush. I am using the AOA Studio F19, which is a dupe for the Anastasia highlighter brush, and the density of this just picks up the product perfectly and applies it to the cheekbones very nicely. This is just $1 and it's incredible. I highly recommend you guys go pick up this brush. It works well with so many other highlights, but if you have a highlight that's a gelée formula, definitely recommend this because it will really like get in there and pick up the product. And then the other highlight that I loved, I actually did not expect, And this is the Ofra and Steph Tom's collab in the shade Milk and Cookies. It does have a little bit of a cookie scent to it. So you have this lighter champagne shade and then this more like peachy gold color. And I thought for sure that this would be too dark on me. It is not. I can use the shades individually and I can use a mix. Usually I'll just take my brush right down the center. It looks so good. Even the darker shade looks so pretty because these are so nice and reflective. I think that Ofra has the best highlighter shade range. While the shades are very similar and some are probably a little bit repetitive, there are so many options that work for me as a fair skinned person, and usually I'm maybe lucky to have 2 shades in a range that will work on me, but I have 9 Ofra highlights, which is insanity. But this one is so good. I really like this, and Ofra has a great formula that does have a really nice, I'm wearing a different Ofra highlight today. It has a really beautiful like intense sheen to it, but it does not look glittery, and I don't really think it sits on top of the skin. I think it melts in quite nicely. So I love the formula, but this shade in particular was amazing. Then I've got 3 blushes, and these are from the same line, the Buxom Wanderlust blushes. Buxom, please do us all a favor and bring out more shades. I do have one more. I have Seychelles, and I like it, but I don't love it, so I want to play around with that one more. But these 2 shades are amazing. That would be Dolly and Mykonos. Dolly is an amazing warm pinky mauve blush that I love wearing in winter. And of course Mykonos is a really beautiful, it looks very orange here, but there is more pink in it in person and on the cheeks. This is a great coral for summertime. These are great blushes. I think that they're pigmented, they blend nicely. There is a little bit of a sheen to them, and basically it just helps them blend easier on the cheeks, so they don't look glittery at all. Very long lasting, very pigmented, a really good formula. Like I said, I would love for Buxom to extend that shade range. And then we have a Persona Super Blush in the shade Georgia, a really pretty peachy blush that I love in the springtime. I also tried their other 2 shades, Terracotta and Caramel. I really love those as well. Those are like honorable mentions, but if I had to pick just one shade, I would choose this one. Their blushes are matte. They are very pigmented, so you only need a light hand. They blend out really nicely, and I really love the sleek, simple, compact packaging of the Persona blushes. Then we have my cheek palettes. There are so many, which is so exciting to me. I'm so happy that I got use out of these, and all of these are new to me. So the first one is something that I had just mentioned in my December favorites, and this is the Sigma Berry Glow Cheek Duo from the Holiday 2021 collection. So you have this highlight in Sizzle and blush in Berry Love, and these are actually a little bit deeper. They are able to work for my skin tone because I go in with a light hand, and this shade actually has a deeper base to it, but because the reflect is so light, it is able to work on my skin tone without having like a dark cast to it. Very pigmented, blend nicely. This is also a super smooth highlight and blush formula. Love Sigma cheek products, and this duo is amazing. I hope that they will continue to release more cheek products. Then I am so glad I got this. This is a huge favorite. This is the Jouer Champagne and Macaroons Sweet Cheeks palette, which is the lighter of the 2 options. This is limited edition, and I think it is finally gone from the Sephora website, unfortunately, but hopefully some of you guys were able to get it on sale during the VIB sale. I did talk about it in some of my social media sites. So there are 2 permanent products in here. I'm not sure if the blushes are permanent, but you have this really pretty warm champagne highlight called Citrine. The bronzer is called Suntan, and then you have a matte peach blush and Romance Me, and a shimmery pink blush and Delight Me. And I normally do not like pink blushes, but I think that one has such a beautiful sheen to it. It's just such a pretty color. I love these so much. They're very pigmented. They blend nicely. These shades work so well for me. This is a fantastic palette. It's a little long to fit in my drawer, but I do think that the pans are a good size for most brushes. I'd say it really just depends on the size of your bronzer brush, but There's enough space between the products that you're not going to mix them all around. Very happy with this, and they do have a deeper palette, and the shades in there do look very deep, which is fantastic. Such great quality. A surprise favorite to me was the Artist Couture Love Sprung blush palette, and this is the lightest option. There is, of course, a deeper option as well, and there are 3 blushes in here. The pink one is called Baby Bloom, the peach coral is called Swoon Me, and then this shimmer nude in the middle is called Eternal Flame. The shimmer is my least favorite, but I still really like that for a great like neutral blush. But I also really liked this pink shade because there's like a little bit of mauve in it, but it's not too dark, too berry, but I really loved the coral. But I think that the packaging is just precious, and I was really impressed by the quality of this. And then the next favorite is the Sigma Beauty Core de Rosa blush palette. So there are 6 blushes in here. These 2 are shimmers, the other 4 are matte. So you can tell you have more of a peach, a pink, then a lighter shimmer, darker shimmer, and then this one is more orange, and this one has a little bit more red in it. So beautiful. I would wear all of these blushes, and very pigmented, blend nicely, such good formula, and I love the size of this. So nice and compact. And then my last face palette is the Sigma Glowkissed highlighter palette. I chose this from Look Fantastic because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make all these shades work for me, and I can, because these 2 lightest shades here do work, and I basically can mix them with all of the other ones, and you do have a good mix in here of like pink tones, champagnes, bronze, more of like a coppery gold. Such an incredible formula. So I highly recommend Sigma's cheek products. I also had the Holiday 2020 duo, which had a highlight that was exclusive to that palette, and then it had the Core de Rosa blush, which I already have in this palette. But these are absolutely incredible. I love them so much, and these 2 are permanent, where the other things I mentioned I believe are limited edition. I think this one is limited. So definitely scoop those up if you are able to. I know that both of these were on sale during the Sephora VIB sale, so hopefully you guys were able to snag those. Then we've got eyeshadow palettes, and there are some palettes where I created several looks that I loved, and then I have another stack of palettes where there were 1 or 2 looks that I was really blown away by. So we'll start with the palettes that I just loved as a whole. I'm gonna go through pretty quickly with these. I may try to link some makeup of the days on Instagram using these. That is really what I went back through before filming this video to see which palettes I really loved. So the first one is the Natasha Denona Mini Star palette. I think all these shimmers are very beautiful. I especially loved the looks I created with these 2 shimmers on the end. And formula is great on all of these. I did review all of these products in my monthly makeup rankings if you're wanting like more specific details, but I figured this is probably enough. Then we have the Too Faced Teddy Bear palette. I bought this because of Emily Noel, and this was the first palette I started testing when I was back to work after maternity leave, and I created 5 looks with this, I think. Loved them all so much. This is great quality. It's just like a little tiny for me. And I'm interested in trying their spring palette and hoping that the formula is just as good as that one. This is from Holiday 2020. This is the Sigma Rendezvous palette. I love this so much. So you have these 2 mattes here that work for me as a crease and an outer corner color. If you have a deeper skin tone, it would probably be more of transition and crease shade. And I liked this shimmer as well, but especially these 3 shimmers. And it was so easy for me to use Anastasia Birkin as a transition color, and then just this palette. So this would just be so perfect for me if I was going back into the office every day and needed a pretty quick, easy eye look. This is what I would use. The formula is really good. Sigma has really good eyeshadows. Then this was my first time trying this brand. It is Uoma Beauty, and this is their Royal Heritage Coming to America palette, and the shades in here are amazing. These shimmers are very foiled. I did get some fallout on my face, but it was easy to brush away. The mattes are a little powdery, but they're very, very pigmented. This shade right here is a little bit unique to my collection, and I really loved it. But all of these shades perform so nicely. I would definitely be interested in getting more palettes from them in the future, depending on the color story. But that was such a good one. Then, very surprisingly, I really love this Juvia's Place Bronze Rustic palette. I have not been in love with most Juvia's Place products I tried. Most of them are just okay to me, but the 2 looks I created with this are some of my favorite that I've done this year. I just love the way that they turned out when I saw my Makeup of the Day post. So here is what this palette looks like. 2 shimmers and 4 mattes. Even though these are such basic shades that I probably have over and over again, just something about the tones of each of them are just a little bit different and just very complimentary to my green eyes and my fair skin and blonde hair. So very happy with that. Then something that I bought for nostalgia but actually ended up loving quite a bit is the ColourPop Liz McGuire What Dreams Are Made Of palette. I used every single shade in here. I created 3 looks and I really loved them. There is a pressed glitter, and normally I hate that finish, but this one actually performs pretty well. For the green look, I did really have to build it up, but of course these 2 shades are my favorite, and there are 2 mattes with glitter in here as well, but I didn't mind it. I felt like the glitter didn't show up too much on the skin. I just loved the looks I created so much with this one. Next is something that I feel like I should have ranked a little bit higher in my monthly makeup ranking. I think it was number 2, but I feel like it should have been 1. This is the ColourPop Hocus Pocus Gather Round Sistas palette, and these 2 columns could just go. I love these here. I created 3 looks I really loved. One with a pressed glitter, which was very good. Actually, I used these 2 shades and maybe this one, and then I did a purple look, and then I did a more cranberry look. The shades in here perform so well. The shimmers actually had like a nice metallic sheen to them. The mattes are very pigmented but blended out nicely, and I have a difficult time with my skill level blending out deep shades, but these just work so well, and I was really happy ColourPop brought it back this season. And then a palette that I had used last year, but I used it again this year, actually in fall, and I liked it way more than when I had tried to use it in the winter. So actually, I guess I did use it 2 times this year. Anyway, this is the Huda Beauty Naughty Nude palette. This marbled shade here is so beautiful on the eye. It has more of like a duochrome flash to it. Of course, I love these shades here. I think that her larger palettes have great quality. The mattes can be a little bit powdery, but they apply nicely, blend out nicely. I really like this palette. Of course, this shade is dumb, but there's no pressed glitters in here, which I love to see. Then I have a bunch of palettes where there were just 1 or 2 looks that I really loved, but I loved them. And the first one, I guess I should say I liked more than 1 look, probably 3 looks with this palette, but there was 1 that just blew me away. And this is the Cindy Grace and Temptalia on the Horizon Light palette. There is a deep version where a few of the mattes are a different color. And my favorite look was using Lunar Lavender on the first part of my lid, Sakura Glow on the outer part of my lid, and then for my crease outer corner, I was using October Odyssey. And then for a transition shade, I was using one of the colors from the Sigma Warm Neutral palette. I will link my Makeup of the Day for sure. That was so beautiful and amazing. I also really like the look that I created with Magellan's Light and Phoenix Awakens. Very good. I absolutely love this palette, and the shadows are phenomenal. I absolutely love Temptalia, so I was so happy to be able to pick up one of her palettes. Then we have the ColourPop Raw Beauty Christie at Forest Sight palette. This is really nice as well. I recreated 2 looks from Christie, a yellow mustard look and the green look. And the green look, I think I used these 3 shades. Stunning. That looked so good on my eye color, skin, hair color, if I can say so. It looked incredible. I was also wearing a camo shirt, so it was very green. I absolutely loved it, and the quality of this ColourPop palette is really good. Then something I tried at the very beginning of the year, this is the Pat McGrath Rose Decadence palette, and I especially loved this on the lid. This is my crease color and this as my outer corner color. These three here are really nice as well, but that look was just my favorite. The quality of this one is very nice. I like that this packaging, like she's changed it to this instead of the one where you had to like wind the thing and then it opened up and never stayed open. Then, try not to knock these over, I have the Alamar Spanglish palette, and I really liked these three shades right here. So we have Pero Like, TNA Swing, and IK Cute. This is like an orange shade with hot pink shimmer in it. That's just a really pretty cranberry, and that's a super cute transition crease color. That would be a very nice blush as well. I think the hot pink was nice. The other shades in here were nice, but these three were definitely my favorites. And my last palette is the Kaleidos and Angelica Nefis Club Nebula palette. I was so excited to get this to support Angelica, even though these are not my typical colors. I do not wear blues or greens like this. I like olive tones. I'm very afraid of blue because I feel like I can never blend it correctly, especially matte blues. But these performed so well. They did blend very nicely. They were very pigmented. I also have a hard time blending deep shades, and there were several deep shades in this palette, so I was a little bit nervous about that, but it works so well. She also has these really beautiful shimmer shades that have some holographic particles to them, and I used a couple of shades with multiple looks, and they really transform depending on the other shades I paired with them. But my favorite look with this palette would be using this Peachy Row. You guys, it was so good. Even this dark matte red blended so nicely. I will link that look down below because I loved it, and I will reach for this palette just for that look. And you know, I am very, very happy to have it. I do have another Kaleidos palette that I'm excited to use because it's more of my color story. It's Sashimi City, the neutral one. But so happy to have this and be able to support Angelica, and it was a limited edition. So then we are moving on to two eyeliners that I really love. The first is a ColourPop Creme Gel Liner. You guys may know that this is my favorite liner formula for the waterline, and this is a limited edition shade, but it was a re-release. I got this in the Make It Black collection. This is the shade Rosette, which is a coppery rose gold. I love it. Before this, I had just tried the matte shades from ColourPop, and this is a metallic. I'll swatch it for you. It is so nice, very pigmented, very long wearing. Absolutely loved that. So glad that I picked that up. And then I have a Persone eyeliner in the shade Bronze. This had been sold out for forever on the Ulta website. And it is just a warm, shimmery brown. And it does have a nice metallic flash to it. The ColourPop is a lot more metallic than the Persone is, but this one is nice and creamy, easy to blend out. There are a couple other shades in their range. I don't think I would buy them because I mostly just like liners that are special colors, and I really like this one. It's super easy for me to wear with a lot of different warm tone looks. And then we have lip products. I actually have quite a few here, which is exciting because I don't tend to have a lot of lip favorites for some reason, or I feel like a little bit more hesitant about calling products I enjoy favorites when it comes to lips. But you guys will not be surprised by this lip liner if you follow my Makeup of the Days on Instagram. This is Persona's Almond, which is a really great peachy nude. I love ColourPop Little One, but this I like even more. And the Persone formula is similar to ColourPop, except the packaging is a little bit better, but this is nice and creamy, but I think it's not quite as creamy as the ColourPop, but it's not drying. It's a super comfortable formula. These are very affordable to begin with. I think they're $14. I ended up getting mine on sale at Ulta for $10, and I just love it. It goes with everything. Such a great nude. And there are 4 lip liners. I also have Dusk, which is the more pinky mauve one, but then there are 2 others that are a little bit more brown and a little darker. So if you have a darker skin tone, definitely check those out for a great nude lip liner. Then there were some lipsticks, and this is one that I almost forgot to mention, but in a couple of my favorite makeup of days, I was wearing this. This is a Kylie matte lipstick in the shade Nova, which is just a really pretty peachy nude. And this is actually a very comfortable matte formula. It looks nice on the lips. I did try a lighter shade from them and I didn't like it as much. Because it was so light, I feel like I could really tell the separation from my lipstick and then like the inside part of my lip. This is more of a silicone formula, very comfortable. The only thing I do not like about the Kylie lipsticks is that they have a cherry scent, which I find to be repulsive, but I had thought about decluttering this product because I don't like the scent and I don't necessarily feel like I have to have a Kylie product in my collection, but the color is so good. I wore it with, I believe, my olive look with the ColourPop Raw Beauty Christy palette and one of the looks I did with the Juvia's Place Bronze Rustic that I loved so much, so I had to mention that. And then I have maybe my favorite lipstick formula, and I just for some reason have not fallen in love prior to this with any bullet lipstick lines, but I have 3 of the Buxom Full Force lipsticks. These are all from the 90s nude collection. You may be able to find some of these at TJ Maxx. I actually got 2 at TJ Maxx and 1 from Ulta during 21 Days of Beauty, and they also have like a regular line, but I'm not interested in any of those shades, but this 90 nude one is great. And basically these are full coverage cream lipsticks, and they don't feel too heavy on the lips like some different formulas from MAC can be. I actually remember the Bite Amuse Bouche lipsticks. For some reason, I didn't like the way that that formula sat on my lips, but these are very nice. Even though they're full coverage cream, they're not gloopy and heavy. They have a nice sheen to them. They don't emphasize any dry patches on your lips. It's just such a good formula. And again, I would love for them to release new shades. So I have Heartthrob, which is the most pink out of the collection. And this is the one I wasn't sure if I would like, and I think it's actually my favorite. So maybe these are more of a medium to full opacity. And then we have Flagra, which is a very warm nude. Not quite mustardy, but we're on the verge. So this one really, okay, it looks very mustard there. It really depends on the makeup look. And then we have more of a terracotta rose, and this is called Supermodel. And there it is, Supermodel. This is just such a good formula. I really love them. And then I forgot to bring it out, so I'll have to insert a little picture of it. I really loved a limited edition Buxom Full On Lip Cream that was in a holiday set from 2019, I believe, and it is the shade Sugar Drop, and it's a little bit more of a cool toned nude, and it is like a cool tone tan. I have a really hard time describing it because sometimes I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's not cool tone, but compared to like super warm shades like this, it is, but it's cool tone without being pink. I don't know how to describe it. It's a little bit similar to Maybelline Lifter Gloss in Stone, but I just love the Buxom Full On Lip Cream formula. It is the only sticky gloss formula that I can get down with. They have a really great medium opacity and they hang around for a long time, and that color is just so beautiful. I absolutely loved it. So bummed that it's limited edition, but highly recommend it if you can find it. But it is something that stood out to me, and I did wear it with the Natasha Denona Mini Star palette, and I loved that look so much because of the shadow and the lip color. Then we have 3 new lip formulas to me, and these are all lip oil type glosses, and I've tried a lot and I have a lot more to try, which is exciting. And so far these have been my favorites because they're not too thick, they're not too waxy or too sticky. And the first one would be from Tower 28. This is one of their milky lip jellies, which have a little bit more color than just the original lip jellies, and they're also in more neutral shades. This one is Cashew, which is a really pretty warm brown, and these have a medium opacity and a lot of really pretty shine. but they are not sticky or thick whatsoever. So they're not going to be the most long lasting, but you can't have it all with a lip color. Then this was amazing. This is the Rowan Liquid Lip Balm in the shade Charlie. They have 3 shades and this is the middle color. I am interested in the lightest shade, but I got this one because it was, luckily for me, included in a BoxyCharm. And I actually did end up getting a backup because it is a very expensive product and it's so good. So it has a very similar formula to the Tower 28, but this has a minty scent, which you guys may know I really love. And this is such an easy everyday shade for me. It's not too pink or too peach or too brown. It just can go with so many things. And then we have the Vesca Lush Glow Creamy Lip Oil in Ginger Lily. They do have a lot of shades to choose from, and this is such a pretty color. And this formula is a little bit thicker than the other ones, and it feels very plush on the lips. And that one's like a little bit peachier. So there are those 3 shades. Really, really love those formulas and those shades. I do have some more Tower 28. I also tried Coconut this year, but I tried it in winter and I think I would actually like that color a little bit more in summer. So that's when I'm going to wear it in 2022. And if I love it in summer, I'll probably mention it in that yearly favorites. But these are just so, so good, especially these 2, but this one was very good as well. And I also wanted to mention a few brushes. So I already mentioned my 2 cheek brushes, and for eyes, I can't remember if I mentioned it last year or not, but the Morphe Jaclyn Hill eye brushes are incredible. I think the Morphe Jaclyn Hill brush collection is better quality than a lot of their other brushes, which I still think are good. And I think Morphe has a lot of unique brush shapes for a really good price. But this year, I did it today, I started putting more color on my lower lash line. And usually I don't tend to put actual pencil liner there. It just depends on the formula and the color. Because my eyes are very, very runny, very watery. I have oily under eyes and a liner can make a mess. But for some eye looks, I feel like it really does help give some balance by putting some color on the lower lash line. And that's what I did today, is I just used shadow, and I'm very happy with the way it made my eyes look. And I use a combination of these 2 brushes. So I will take the darker color stamped right up against my lash line with this brush. All the writing has rubbed off, but it is basically just like the flat liner brush from Alamar Cosmetics. This came in a 3-pack with a blending brush where I didn't like the shape of it, and then like a flat synthetic packing brush that I actually use with cream shadow. That one's great as well, but this one is awesome. I know there are a lot of other brands that make a brush like this, but it just is like super skinny and just so perfect for that. And then I will take a lighter color and blend it out with the Morphe M508 brush. And again, I'm sure this is not unique. I'm sure Sigma has something very similar, but of course this is going to be even cheaper. I think I got this one from the Ulta website, but it could have been from the Morphe store. But I have been loving just this technique. But guys, those are all of the standout products that I really, really loved in 2021. I'm sure there are some other things that I've forgotten, but these are my absolute favorites. I feel like a lot of eyeshadow palettes, there were some honorable mentions, but I just couldn't leave them out because I loved certain looks so much. I would love to hear your thoughts on these products in the comments down below, and I would absolutely love to hear your favorites. I know that I'm a little bit late with this video, but hopefully you guys will still be interested. I tested out so many things in 2021, and I'm hoping to be able to test and review a lot of things in 2022 for you guys. I'm super happy that I started doing this monthly makeup ranking because it made me use my products way sooner, which is fantastic, and so many good finds here. So anyway guys, I know this was a long video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.